This episode of the Friday Happy Hour Laugh With Me is brought to you by podup.com. Have you ever thought about creating your own episode? You know, like having your own podcast. What are you waiting for? Get started at podup.com. We are one of the sponsors of this podcast, and we would love to someday sponsor yours. Starting is as easy as creating, and I can read, as an account at podup.com today. Podup has literally everything that you need to run a full professional show. Podup has over 35 different tools with AI integration to further help you succeed. Create a free starter account or get a paid account for 15% off with code LaughWithMe15. So go to checkout podup.com, or if you're wanting a podcast that's done for you where you pay an agency to do all the website, social media, editing work, check out podallies.com. Pod Allies is an agency run by the folks that literally built the Podup podcasting software. Get started with them at podallies.com. Get 15% off when you sign up today for Podup or Pod Allies with code LaughWithMe15. We can't wait to create with you and launch your podcast. I've been waiting for this part all freaking day. It's the Friday Happy Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Welcome back to a brand new episode. This is the Friday Happy Hour Laugh With Me podcast with J.O. Man, it feels good to get the Friday holiday weekend. We got Memorial Day on Monday. I mean, everybody that I know is doing something for the weekend. They got the weekend off. It's supposed to be pretty nice out. Got the beers going. I tell you what, I sold a lot of ice at the gas station. I did. And got a lot of ice to sell. So, with you knowing I'm at the gas station, I won't have the weekend off, but that's okay. Glad to serve, right? But it is Friday. It's the happy hour. I thought today, let's talk some beers. Let's talk beer. How about, we saw this list on Twitter. Grits in Football is the account at Good Breifus. I don't know. Good Breffis is the at. If you're interested, I'll retweet, obviously, from the socials. He ranked the top 5 beers. And we're not talking like, what's your favorite beer? You know, and here in the Midwest, a lot of folks are going to say Busch Light. Maybe anymore, a lot of folks say Mick Ultra. Like that's a favorite. That is a prime favorite. One of my favorites. You know I love a line of Kugel Summer Shandy. I'll drink that any time of the year. Not summer, spring, fall, winter, but I love a Corona. Man, a nice cold Corona with or without lime, honestly. I don't care. I mean, if I'm offered the lime, sure, I'm going to take the lime. Or if it comes with the lime, yeah. Sometimes I'll splurge and I'll buy a lime. Then you got to cut them up. It's a whole deal. I'll drink them with or without the lime. I sell a lot of Modelo. I know Modelo's a big deal. I used to be a big Bud heavy guy. Love Budweiser. I'll still drink a Bud from time to time. I went through a phase where Bud Light Lime was my jam. I remember one time at an Everclear concert, I had so many Bud Light Limes. I ended up kicking out this guy out of our fantasy football. Actually, you know what? I'm not blaming it on the Bud Light Limes. I'm blaming it on the fact that he just wasn't a productive member of the league. But as the commissioner, I had to take care of business. And it just happened to be after quite a few Bud Light Limes at an Everclear concert. But neither here nor there. Today we're talking about top 5 beers. You know, like first beer vacation. That first beer after mowing. That one made the top 5 list. Those types of beers. The situation beers. That's what we're talking about today. I'd love to know what your top 5 are. We're going to go through the list. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see if you agree, disagree with, 1, them being on the list, and 2, would you put it there in this order? Start at the bottom, number 5. They had after mowing beer as a top 5 beer. I agree. The after mowing beer is good. Here's my problem. This guy is, I'm assuming, the after mow beer, just done mowing, sweating, it's hot, just put in a lot of physical exertion, and he's going to the cooler and getting an ice cold beer, cracking it open. That's what I'm assuming, and in that, he's probably right. That is just going to taste so freaking good after a nice mow. Here's my dilemma. I tend to open a beer right at the beginning of mowing. And I don't know why I do this. I feel like, I don't know why I do this. But I crack open a beer, I have a couple drinks, I go mow. Now my beer is out there with me. It's not like on my side or anything. I'm not holding it. I'm not one arm in the lawnmower. But I've got the beer, on the front porch or on the deck or wherever. So then when I'm done and I go back to the beer, it's not necessarily brand new, ice cold, just cracked it open beer. So to me, it doesn't have the same effect. But if you just went through the act of mowing, which it could take an hour, it could take more than an hour, depending on the size of your yard. My yard, corner lot, it takes about an hour from beginning to end to mow, and then you got to go back and do the trimming. Got to get that edging going. That's the thing. I just like to get that first taste out of the way. Maybe a little treat for me at the beginning of the mow. Put the headphones in, get to mowing, and then know I have something good to come back to. But yeah, I could totally understand the ice cold beer post mowing, and I think that's what a lot of people do. I think so. After mowing beer was number 5 on his list for top 5 beers. Number 4. This is a good one. This is one I have a lot of history with. Like, probably too much history with this one. This is the grilling beer. Everyone loves a good grilling beer. You get your meat, get it seasoned, head out, fire that baby up, throw it on the grill, crack open a beer. It's just something to, something to have. It's a little treat for you while you're out there making dinner or lunch or whatever you, probably not breakfast. A grilling beer is nice. One grilling beer though, no. I tend to stretch that. Sometimes I get social when I have the grilling beers. So you go, Eric. He's been a guest on the show before a couple times. He used to live. I think I've talked about this story before. But he used to live, in an apartment on the second level. It oversaw where the communal grill was in the same complex we lived in. I'd go out to the grill. I would fire it up, start grilling some burgers, and, he'd hear the grill start. I was like the only one that used the grill. When he heard it, getting started, he knew I was out there. He'd come down, and he got a burger, so I'd give him a couple burgers. But we'd start drinking beers. We'd start chatting. Next thing you know, the burgers are too well done. So that's a problem I have. That is a problem I have where I enjoy a grilling beer too much. I get social or I get to scrolling. I'm sitting out there. I'm enjoying the weather. I'm on the deck. I honestly enjoy the atmosphere so much. You got the heat of the grill. You got the smells, the sounds. You're sitting there. You got a nice cold beer. You're scrolling through Twitter. Or sometimes I'll just throw on some music. Yeah, I love a grilling beer. Number 4. We'll see if I ended up at number 4, but I love a grilling beer. I have a deep history with the grilling beer. Number 3, the NFL tailgate beer. I'm shocked this is on the list. I mean, this is probably somebody who, his Twitter account's called Grits and Football, so football is obviously important. He had to add football-related something into it. The NFL tailgate beer is fantastic. I will say. I love heading down to in Kansas City, heading to Arrowhead. Man, their parking lot. I know they're talking about doing stuff with their stadium. I hope it doesn't involve them ever moving. That parking lot is just perfect for the tailgate situation, and it's a lot of fun. I love heading down there and seeing Charger games, and it's just it's a great time. A nice ice cold tailgate beer whether it's, a sunny, hot September day or, in the ice cold December games that we've been to. It still just hits, but I don't know if I'd even put it in my top 5. I mean, it's fun. I don't know if I'd put it in. There's honestly, it's not even top 5 things I enjoy most about tailgating is having a beer. So I don't know. Top 5 things I love about tailgating at the NFL games. I love the social. There's just so much social, and that's either with the friends that you brought with you or that you're meeting there or just the other fans. There's something about being at a team, you're at the game. All these Charger fans are coming up, right? It's an away game. We need each other. We need to support each other. And every Charger fan that comes by, it's like, hey, go Bolts, and you don't know who they are, but today you're family. I don't know. I just love that. I love the games, playing some cornhole, throwing the bags a little bit. That's always fun. You get the music, just talking football with the boys. That's fun. I don't know. The atmosphere is incredible. Of course, you're going to crack open some tailgate beers, but I don't know. It's not even top 5 of the event itself for me, so probably not making my top 5. But that's number 3 on Grits and Football's list, NFL tailgate beer. Number 2, the airport beer before a trip. This one's tough because I do enjoy an airport beer, so don't get me wrong. What I'm questioning, and maybe it's just because I haven't had nearly as many airport beers as a lot of people have, especially somebody who maybe is putting this number 2 on the list. Does the time, is it an absolute? Doesn't matter what time your flight is, there's going to be an airport beer before a trip? Because if that's the case, you could honestly say the beer kicking off, the trip, whether it's driving or whatever it is. I'm not talking about the driver, but, if you're gotten in a van or a car with some of your friends and gone on a road trip, hey, sometimes you're leaving at like 5 a.m. and some of the boys are cracking open a beer. That's something that happens ahead of time, of course. Yeah, no, the airport beer, I guess if the bar's open, you kind of have to if you got the time. There's always the excitement around the trip, as you're sitting there, the unknown of what's to come, wherever you're heading. That part's fun. That part's a lot of fun. I still don't know if I'd even put it in my top 5. Number 1, and this one, of course, hit me. Actually, you know what? Before we even get to number 1, here's some other beers that I was thinking about that, maybe I would consider for my top 5. Because like I was saying, I don't know if airport beer is even in my top 5. NFL tailgate beer certainly wouldn't. The grilling beer is a great one. I think I do it wrong. There's the the grilling beer. I take that back. I do the grilling beer just fine. After mowing beer, I do incorrectly. But what about shower beer? How did shower beer not make the top 5? That's a special beer that doesn't happen all the time because it's not like every day I'm showering and having a beer. But when you're in the situation in which you are going to have a beer while you shower, holy cow. It's a whole different experience because the shower itself has a whole different feel to it now. And the type of beer that you have while in the shower, you're probably not going to have a bottle, right? Because what if it breaks? You got the glass, get the bare feet. If you're drinking bottled beer in the shower, I hope you're considering the safety factor of this. Always a can. Or put it in a cup. There's nothing wrong with a cup. But yeah, where do you put it? Do you have a cup holder? Because sometimes they have those cup holders now that can suction cup to your shower wall. You put it on top on the ledge. That's probably a safe spot for it. Or on the side of the bathtub. I don't know, or if you got a friend in there with you, they can hold it. Yeah. I love a shower beer. That's definitely one that I would consider in there. One for me. Why not the podcast beer? I don't know if you guys listen to the show. We open a beer. We crack open a beer every episode to kick it off. There's just something about when you can work and enjoy a beverage while you do it. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And when that happens, it's not work at all, baby. Here's one. Actually, speaking of Eric, I shared this list with him a little while ago, and one that he brought up was a lunch beer. A lunch beer in the top 5. Nothing wrong with that. He thought it should be much higher in the list. I didn't. But I don't think I enjoy lunch beer as often. Maybe it just isn't have as special of a moment. He said, imagine having a beer at lunch on a Wednesday. Most people aren't doing it. It feels wrong. That's true. Because I know if I was having a lunch beer in a work day, I better not be working, right? Because that would be a problem. But yeah, lunch beer. Lunch beer is good. So I did have one the other day. Day off. Went out. Had a burger at lunch. Had a summer shandy. It was pretty nice to have a beverage in the middle of the day. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. This one's very specific. Opening day baseball beer. Opening day baseball beer. It hits different. Or even a beer at a baseball game. Forget NFL tailgate beer. How about baseball game beer? You're outside. You can be a little more mobile. You're not as crunched in. You can kind of move around a little bit. The crack of the bat, the smells, the sounds. It's exciting. Even if you're not a baseball fan, you can go to a baseball game, get a beer and a hot dog, and truly enjoy what it's all about, in my opinion. Back to the list. Those are just some of the beers I feel like maybe I would have, thrown up my top 5. His number one top 5 beer, the Friday beer. And I totally understand that one. In fact, we started an entire podcast about it. The Friday happy hour. Yeah, I got to agree. The Friday beer, that's probably right up there, number 1 for me as well, man. So I'm going to share this list. If you got your own list you want to share, make sure to put it out there. This will be on Twitter, and we'll post it out there today. Friday happy hour, baby. Next week, laugh with me. There's going to be guest galore. Trust me, more announcements, more fun. It is Funny Boy Summer. If you're not in it, you better get in on it. It's going to be our summer. We've got an official soundtrack to it, playlist on Spotify that we've created, and you can find that on our socials as well. It's Friday happy hour, baby. Enjoy your weekend. This episode of the Friday Happy Hour Laugh With Me is brought to you by podup.com. Have you ever thought about creating your own episode? Like having your own podcast? What are you waiting for? Get started at podup.com. We are one of the sponsors of this podcast, and we would love to someday sponsor yours. Starting is as easy as creating, and I can read, as an account at podup.com today. Podup has literally everything that you need to run a full professional show. Podup has over 35 different tools with AI integration to further help you succeed. Create a free starter account or get a paid account for 15% off with code LaughWithMe15. So go to check out podup.com, or if you're wanting a podcast that's done for you where you pay an agency to do all the website, social media, editing work, check out podallies.com. Pod Allies is an agency run by the folks that literally built the Podup podcasting software. Get started with them at podallies.com. Get 15% off when you sign up today for Podup or Pod Allies with code LaughWithMe15. We can't wait to create with you and launch your podcast.